What's up, guys? Coach Z, Walk On Warrior. Listen, I'm super excited for this video that I'm putting out here for you today. This is something that's really important in your recruiting process, especially if you're just getting started. Hopefully, the viewers that are paying attention to this, you're a sophomore going into being a junior next year, or a junior going into your senior year. You're hitting it nice and early, and you're dialed in and have decided, I want to go and I want to pursue this next level opportunity. And so I need to do certain things to get me going. But coach, I don't know what to do and I don't know how to get started. And that leads me, that's a great segue into the question and the focus of this video. And it is all about how to start the college recruiting process. Before you get started, there's certain things you need to think about before you go into this. So now you're dialed in, let's do this. Always remember, first thing is there's no one size fits all. You know, sometimes kids think that, well, if I do this, and this, I'm going to be locked in with coaches, I'm going to get opportunities, going to get scholarships, whatever. Just remember there's a certain timeline, the things that happen. Your buddy next to you that plays on the same roster, maybe just a different position, he may get an offer early. You may get an offer late. He may get this, you may get this. There's no one size fits all in this whole process. I was undersized. I ended up being a walk-on. There's some guys that fit the size shape that all these coaches are looking for, and they get recruited early. I didn't get much recruitment at all. There's just so many different moving parts. So I want to encourage you to just understand that not one size does not fit everybody's pathway to getting an opportunity or playing at the next level. Second thing to keep in mind is no matter what you're doing, make sure you're organized. Young student athletes, and as well as you parents that are paying attention to this, you need to make sure you're organized, whether it's with your emails that you're sending out, questionnaires that you're filling out when you go onto some of these social media sites, or even the personal web pages for these coaches, or just the school website. You want to make sure that you have your questionnaires organized, your letters, anything that you get from these coaches, you want to make sure that you're organized with that. And then also, DMs. A lot of recruiting goes on with X or Twitter, and you want to make sure that you're paying attention to the DMs that you're sending, because the last thing you want to do, and I've had this as a college coach, I've had kids reach back out to me, and I'm like, who is he even reaching out to? I'm not Ryan. My name's, my first name is Dustin, or Coach Z. It makes things really awkward. And I just don't want to recruit you. It's just like, okay, well, this kid's just sending me random mass emails, and he's clearly not paying attention to who he's sending it to. And always remember, first impressions are very important. We're going to talk about that in a minute, and how you deal with coaches and building relationship with coaches. And then I would say one more thing to think about is it's all about generating interest. It's all about generating interest and having good personal interactions with these coaches and building relationships with them. Whether you go to camps, whether you meet them in person and they're going through their first cycle of recruiting to fill their databases at your high school, and any interaction that you have, you want to make sure that you have it dialed in, and that you're not in a situation where you're kind of just out of touch. You don't want to be out of touch. Out of mind, out of sight, all that kind of stuff. You want to be focused, because listen, at the end of the day, every move that you make and everything that you do could either cost you or it could help you in this recruiting process. Okay. Next thing, let's talk about a specific question that you should be asking going into this process. And the question is what do you want, or what are you looking for out of this whole process? What are you looking for academically? What are you looking for athletically? What I say academically, right? When you're researching these schools, you want to be able to figure out what it is maybe that you're looking for, as far as, say you want to go into engineering. You want to make sure and dial all that in, because if all of a sudden you generate interest from a school and a coach and a program, all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, they don't have engineering, or they don't have journalism, or they don't have all these different, or teaching or education. Oh man, so now you get in a situation where you're kind of stuck. You're like, well, I don't, what do I do? Athletically, you really need to dial in the program. You need to do as much research as you need to be an FBI agent. You need to do as much research as you can on these coaches, get to know their background, where they're coming from, Because a lot of times, if you don't dial that in, all of a sudden they'll leave after a year. It happens a lot. That's the reality of it. And so if you're going into this and a coach leaves, then you're going to be heartbroken, and there's a lot of moving parts with that. So you want to make sure that you know, say you're a quarterback, you need to know what kind of offense they run, what kind of system they run, what kind of background do these coaches have. Are they going to develop you? They're going to put you in a situation to be the most successful because you're investing 4, maybe 5 years of your life at that school. I'm not talking about the portal, because yes, there's kids that bounce in and out of the portal, but I'm coming from a coach's standpoint. I'm recruiting guys in to be with me for 4 to 5 years, and I plan on being at that school for that amount of time, and hopefully you can give that in return. But that's something to definitely pay attention to. Think about the academics, number one, and number two, think about the program and athletically that you're going to get out of this program, and also their counseling. Their counseling offices, the strength conditioning coaches and program. So it's just a holistic and big approach, but look at it in those terms, and those are questions to ask. So now, when you are getting started with this whole process, there's a couple specific things I really want to lay out in this video. Get your academics in order. When a coach comes to you and they really are generating interest and they really do decide, hey, I want you, I'm looking to offer you, the number one thing they always ask, and what I ask for, because this is a deal breaker, it can make or break everything for you, is academics, and making sure you have your academics lined out. Now, what does that mean? Making sure that you have all your transcript dialed in. No ifs, ands, or buts. Your GPA is nice and high. Just your grades and everything that you're doing is nice and high. So when I look for that and they give me that attachment, right? Because everybody does everything through email and through the digital these days. But when I'm actually looking at your transcript, I can say, well, listen, I can invest time into this guy because he invested in academics. You have to be eligible at the next level, guys, just so you know. So if you're not academically eligible, you're no good to me, to you, to your family, to the dream and the goal that you're looking to pursue. So make sure you got your academics in order. That is a key thing. Next thing is do your research. Make sure and do your research on everything when it comes to the program, the coach, everything. You got to do your research. If you don't do your research, sometimes you'll have those out of nowhere surprises. You do not want to be surprised when you're going through this process and then you get to a school and you're like, oh, wait a minute, I didn't know that. Do not ever have that in your mind. So do your research. Next thing is how you interact with coaches. It's all about first impressions. So remember, just go and introduce through your emails, through your DMs. Anytime that you are interacting with coaches, you want to make sure and you have a good first impression. That's key, right? And the next thing I would say is here's some tips. Here's some tips for how you communicate with these coaches. This is one thing I really wanted to break down. Like I said, first impressions are always everything. So for example, one of the main key things that is required in recruiting is emails, right? Make sure in your email it's personalized. Personalize the email. Dear Coach Z, Dear Coach Johnson, Dear Coach Roger. You can turn it into a template and you can send it out to thousands of coaches, but you need to make sure and proofread that thing, because a lot of times I will get just flooded with emails, and in those emails, they'll say Coach Z, and then I'll look down the rest of it and I'll be looking at all your information if you've got it there. And then it says, super excited to have interest from whatever school. And I'm like, I'm not at that school. I've never been at that school. And so it really turns a coach completely off. So you want to make sure you want to be as personalized as possible, because it is impressive to me when a kid actually spends the time and puts the effort into really digging into us, our program, and everything that I was mentioning earlier about that kind of thing. Next thing is be intentional. Be intentional. Be as genuine as possible, because when I reach out to you, whether it's email, phone call, text, DM, I want to know that you are interested. There's general interest. That sounds very vague and fair, but I want to know that you're interested in my program and that you've done some background research on me. When I do podcasts, I'm not necessarily the best podcaster, but I do my research and I surprise guests because, listen, I've done my research, done my homework, and they say, whoa, we haven't talked about that. I'm surprised. That's crazy. You know that. So you build a better relationship with somebody and through this whole process. And it's all about generating an opportunity, but also maybe getting some money and financial rewards through this whole process, because nobody wants to go to school for free. And always, like I said, everybody wants to get that financial backing. It's really important. And then next thing is be respectful. Everything that you do, be respectful. So what does that mean? Whether it's an email, text message, whatever, it's always yes, sir, no, sir, thank you. Just all the basics. Make sure that is in there. Coaches love that, because you could potentially be a liability if you come into our program. You won't make it all those 4 to 5 years. All those little things really is all about turning a coach on to you and being in the sweepstakes of you, the student athlete. You are putting yourself out there. You're a businessman now. You have to be solid as a rock no matter what you are doing. I would just say the last thing with this, it's all about don't give up. Don't give up. I told you earlier that everybody's road is different, and there's a lot that goes on. If you're hitting it early going into, you say, your junior year, do the things you should be doing, right? Working hard, building a community around you, and build a peer and a support group around you, but also build relationships with your coaches at the high school you're at, because they're going to also give you representation when a coach shows up. They're going to touch that button and say, listen, take this guy. This is why he's good. But also remember that it's all about time. It takes time. And there's going to be times where you are going to be frustrated. You may not be getting the interest that your teammate's getting or whatever. He may be getting more letters. He may get it from a school that you want to go to and you're not. Just remember, just be open-minded and be patient through the process. If you're going into your senior year, yes, you have to dial it in a little bit more. Hopefully you've been doing the things you should be doing all the things in the off season, busting your butt in the weight room, going to maybe a couple camps, sending out emails, generating interest. But just remember, through the whole process, be patient. Us coaches have 1,000 things we're dealing with, but at the end of the day, we're going to have a big board of a list of all the positions that we're looking to bring in, and we're going to have our top 10 guys, and we're really trying to put our finger on everything. We want to recruit you. We want to bring you in. It really comes down to you and how you organize and put this thing together. So once again, be patient. Understand it's a long process. For some of you, it may be a short process, but you can make a great first impression, and we will definitely be on your list, be on your radar, and you'll be on our radar. And we'll want to come and hopefully bring you into our program. And so always stay encouraged. That's definitely going to take you to the next level in your game. And always remember, it's all about preparing you, the young student athlete, for next level success. We'll see you on the next video.